and they continued that abuse all throughout this by trying to fight us to get the DNA tested.
So how did you deal with that in prison?
You know,
from 2001 to 2011, how did you deal with that?
In prison where I was at, it's a different place. They put you to work. You work every day, and you get a schedule, and you have to work, or you're going to be in the hole. So you have all this stuff going on, and then you have working, doing day-to-day life stuff, trying to keep your mind right. You know, not just for you, but your family. You know, I got a mom. I got 2 brothers. You know, at the time I was 16, but my brother Matthew was 14. My brother Terry was 9. They got expelled from school the following year because they would stand up and fight for my name when people would say crazy things to them, you know.
Yeah.
So and my mom, she suffered, I don't know how many nervous breakdowns because of it, because the whole community just turned against her, besides, you know, the people she just knew, you know. So I try to be strong for them so they don't think that I'm just, you know, dying in there or being abused in there.
By the way, how did the other prisoners treat you? Because crimes against kids are a rough one when you go to jail.
Oh,
and
those
that was
the worst ones ever.
A high-profile crime like that. Were you guys given a hard time by the other inmates?
Well, when I landed at the Varner unit in 1994, in May of 21st of 1994, they were waiting on me. Everybody was already seen the trials on TV, you know, and they were waiting on me. It was a fight. I mean, I've got a shattered skull, broke collarbone, all types of scars over my eyes and stuff just from fighting. But as the years went by and you know, people started respecting me, started getting to know me, who I really am. Joe, Bruce's documentaries came out. People started coming to prison who had seen that. The officers who worked there started to see that. And slowly but surely there was a paradigm shift. Instead of people hurling fists at me, curses at me, you know, it turned into hugs and prayers and like, man, we really hope you get out of this place. You know, our guards would bring me, you know, hamburgers, MP3 players, whatever, just to make my stay there easier. You know, they would tell me all the time, man, I wish I could just give you the keys and let you out.
Wow.
What's the guy's name, the judge? Because I think he's running for some office down there.
Judge Burnett.
Burnett.
He actually already has been elected to state senate.
He's a senator.
Oh my God.
And that was the key. His election to state senate was one of the watershed events that actually allowed this deal to happen.
Because he wouldn't recuse himself, right?
Right. I mean, one of the greatest travesties has been, amongst a long list of travesties, has been Judge Burnett. You know, it is legal in Arkansas and some states for the original trial judge to then preside over the appellate process, which is, to me, completely counterintuitive.
Right.
As if
be a new,
it's like
new set of eyes and ears.
Exactly. As if the original trial judge during the appeals process is going to find fault with how he ran the original trial.
Yeah.
It's just insane. But this guy, for 18 years, there were dozens and dozens. I mean, we touch upon a few of them in the movie, but in reality, there were dozens of appeals, and the process was Burnett would deny the appeals. The Arkansas Supreme Court would affirm the denials, and just everything for years and years.
This dirtbag fighting the DNA or the evidentiary hearing, or fighting to talk about the DNA, it proves to you everything you need to know about how they don't care if you're innocent or guilty.
Yeah, wouldn't you want the
they
truth?
Don't want to look bad.
Regardless of anything, wouldn't you want the truth? And if there's some new technology to be used?
And I could understand if their point was that they did not have the funding, but we had private funding.
Oh, yeah.
And then the evidence was going to go to an accredited laboratory that people all over the United States use, different police agencies use, the FBI used. So there was no question about how good it was going to be done, and it getting done, and it being paid for.
And it could have strengthened their position. Had you guys come up DNA guilty, every movement to free you would have been ended.
Well, the problem with that was they knew we were innocent.
They knew.
They knew they totally set it up. It was not a mistake.
So they knew beforehand. Yeah, they didn't even need to see it.
An amazing turn in this case, too, was that there was a hair found in one of the ligature, because the boys were tied up and they were found in the woods, and there was a strand of hair, I think.
Right.
And it exonerated all of you guys,
right.
But it gave a 1.5% chance that one of the stepfathers.
Actually, it gave a 98.5% chance.
Oh my God! I got that completely the wrong way. Wow, I just did my math backwards.
No, it's it matches.
Good one there, Columbo.
I know.
It matches 1.5% of the population.
That's okay,
including Terry Hobbs. one of the stepfathers.
Right.
So you know, it's very compelling DNA evidence. You know. I mean, the point of the DNA is, you know, it's hard to point a finger to somebody else after what we've all been through with this case.
Yeah.
The point is, there have been numerous items from the crime scene tested, and not a drop of DNA points to the West Memphis Three. That is the point of all of this DNA.
Wow.
And there was
it
also
points to other people.
I had long hair back then, and my stuff shedded like a dog, you know. So if I was there'd been hair everywhere.
And they found a hair, which again could have been his, maybe it's not. And there was apparently they asked him. There was witnesses that saw him talking to the three boys the night they disappeared, where
and
his
he
alibi.
Said he hadn't seen him.
He said he didn't see them. Someone else said that she saw him talking.
And they go over all this in Paradise Lost 3.
The documentary on DVD.
Purgatory.
On HBO. I don't know if you can get it on HBO right now. I have the DVD.
It's on HBO. It premieres Thursday, this Thursday, January 12th, on HBO.
I felt so special when I got the disc early to see it. I went home, put it right in. You don't even have one. That's geez, give him one for Christ's sake.
Give him yours, Jimmy.
You know,
no, but I've seen it.
Something other than just the trial itself and how you guys were railroaded. You get out. You're not really used to this limelight thing. All of a sudden, you're pretty much considered a celebrity at this point. How are you reacting to that?
I don't know. How am I reacting to it, Joe?
It's been amazing. First of all, he's an incredibly impressive guy. How he's maintained a lack of bitterness, how he's educated himself in prison, his attitude towards life has been pretty amazing. But we've had a great time. Within a couple of, I have some great memories since over the last couple of months. Literally just a few weeks after he got out of prison, I'm friendly with Sting and Trudy Styler from my previous movie Crude, and so Sting invited us to his 60th birthday party concert at the Beacon, and so I invited these guys, and cool, after about the third song, I'm thinking to myself, my God, Jason was in the Slammer like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and here he is at the Beacon in New York City, rocking out with Sting and Bruce Springsteen, and that was really special.
It's got to be an amazing thing.
And then, Metallica has been a huge supporter of the West Memphis Three and of our films right from the get-go. I mean, the Metallica were the first ones in, giving us all that great music for the films early on. And so we were having dinner in September, and Jason was reminding me how much he loves Metallica still, and telling me all these stories of how he smuggled the music in. Every record, somehow made it into the prison. And so I said, I got to tell Lars this. So I texted Lars, and I said, hey, man, I'm with Jason Baldwin. He's telling me some great stories. And so Lars called me back, and they got on the phone, and they had this beautiful half-hour chat. And then I get the phone back. This is Lars Ulrich from Metallica, says to me, oh my God, that was so amazing, but I was so intimidated, which I thought was amazing. And then the film premiered in Amsterdam. There's a really great documentary film festival in Amsterdam. It's kind of the big documentary event in Europe, and so I brought Jason, and we had this great time. We had Thanksgiving dinner, my family and Jason and his girlfriend Holly, and we had Thanksgiving dinner on a floating Chinese restaurant in the harbor in Amsterdam. So just being able to do these things with him for a guy who had his youth robbed from him has been really extraordinarily rewarding.
Did you have any dreams or aspirations to do something at 16 that just obviously you never got a chance to do? That because your life completely took this very obvious fork at that point.
Well, think back when you were a teenager, and you're going to school. The biggest thing that's coming up is the summer vacation, right? Summer vacation. I'm in 10th grade. It's my last day of school. I've got it worked out to where I'm going to get my first job this summer vacation, sacking groceries at Kroger. I'm going to learn to drive. My next-door neighbor is helping me learn to drive. She's going to help me get a driver's license, all these different things that are really necessary for a 16-year-old guy, to impress his girlfriend and all that stuff, And I never got my first day of summer, instead of having fun, was in freaking West Memphis Police Department crazy jail.
And you could have had no inkling that it was going to go on as long as it did either. So
had no idea where that was coming.
You had a girlfriend at the time?
Yes, I did.
And it was weird to me when you see the clips of the girlfriend interviewed. At what point? Because, your relationship at 16 is so important. At what point did that end where she's like, I just can't stand by you?
Well, we exchanged a few letters, and it was really difficult. they take me to the Jonesboro County Jail, and I was there for like 2 weeks before I was ever even able to talk to anybody. My mom had traveled the entire state and visited every jail trying to find where I was at. She had actually came to that jail twice, and they told her I was not there.
Jesus.
I wasn't allowed out to make a phone call. You talking about one phone call? When was that?
Nothing.
Right? So my mom's freaking out, doesn't know where I'm at. So finally she finds me, and of course my girlfriend's talking to her like, where is he? What's going on? No one's saying anything, right? So, you know, after I was found and everything, my mom was like, you can write him through me. So it's kind of hard to exchange letters with your girlfriend through your mom.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, after a few months went by, I mean, the jail scene is incredibly difficult. Visits behind the glass 15 minutes. My mom would try to come see me as much as she could. Didn't get to see my girlfriend, and I just wrote her. I said, hey, you know, this is some really crazy stuff going down right now. When I get out, we can see each other and try to, you know, pick up where we left off or whatever, but I don't want you, you know, staying tied to me during all this madness.
Whatever happened to her?
She eventually grew up, apparently, got married. I think maybe had some kids and stuff, but, you know, life goes on.
Yeah.
Where'd you meet your new girl?
She started writing me about 8 years ago while I was in prison. You know, she is this really cool, smart. She was in college, traveling the world. She went to Spain, sent me postcards from Spain, all over the United States, and now we're getting to go do some traveling together. And we're actually trying to find a place that she hasn't been to yet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But she's always like,
together.
I've been here, check this out. This is really cool. This is cool. And
Did
I'm
you go
like,
through?
Yeah, I remember I got a postcard from here from you. You know.
Did you go through any anxiety as far as being out in the world? Because being locked up that long, especially from so young, I would think you'd be a little anxious being let loose.
You know,
like
I don't, because everybody is so nice. Everybody is so cool. You know, they're just, you know, like you said when I came in. You know, it's like you know me. You've
Right,
seen the films. You know, you watch me grow up, and a lot of the people I meet are like that. You know.
How are Damien and Jesse holding up?
I saw Damien the other night. I went to, he's got an apartment up here in New York, and I went up there on a surprise visit, dropped in and said hey to him. He's putting on a lot of weight. His wife, Lori, bought him a weight set for Christmas, so he's like benching and pressing, you know, bench pressing and stuff, and he's looking really good. I talked to Jesse on the phone. He stayed in Arkansas. He says he doesn't even leave the house.
Wow, really?
And it really, you know, it's really sad. I asked him, I said, you know, I know why he's there, to stay close to his dad, and he said he doesn't even hardly get to see his dad, and that's the reason for staying there, because his dad's health is failing and stuff. I said, well, where would you want to go, you know, if you could just get up and go anywhere? He said, Spain or Alaska. So I was like, Buenos dias, amigo. He says, what? I said, well, that's what they speak in Spain. He goes, I'll stick with Alaska.
What was the biggest surprise when you got out of jail about the world and how it changed?
Right.
Oh, well, you know, there really is not a
But was there
surprise,
one thing
because,
where you went, oh my God, this is happening?
Internet porn.
Yeah, something.
you know, media makes a great effort in keeping you informed of what's going on. You know, I mean, there was TV in prison.
Yeah.
No, I get all that, but I mean,
you can see the commercials of cell phones and the internet and all that.
Yeah, so it wasn't like you stepped out into outer space.
But there had to be
yeah.
something where you went,
But
oh
to
my
actually,
God.
you know,
actually do
have
it
a
or
cell
see
phone
it. Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
when I got locked up, I had a Super Nintendo. You know, that was my thing, playing video games. And a couple of weeks ago,
Call of Duty.
Holly and I were house sitting for some friends, and they had an Xbox 360, and that thing was addictive. I was up till like 3 or 4 in the morning. Skyrim, you know?
There you go.
Tell me about it.
That's what I'm getting at. Okay, to actually, you know, get to touch this stuff.
Now,
Right.
are you guys allowed to, because you haven't been able to sue, which you should, and get millions, and hopefully if the governor, if there's a pardon or something is expunged or whatever it is they do, hopefully that can change, because you deserve everything you get financially. Are you allowed to write a book at least? Because you're technically not allowed to if you've been
Well, the
convicted.
Son of Sam law says you can't write and profit from a crime. We never committed a crime.
Right. So does
We
the
write a
Alfred
book
plea?
that's about our lives. And
Even with
Damien's
the-
writing a book right now.
Good.
Oh, okay.
And he is working hard on it. You know, when I got over there, you know, he had, you know, stuff set up for him to work on it, and he works on it every day. You know, he's got a very set, what they call it, discipline on it. So he's doing that, and I say I might wait till I'm 90 to write something.
Yeah. Wait till